we're going to start this thing. We are Dimwit Movie Reviews and More. And to my far left is Mr. Give me a young priest and an old priest and some holy water and I'll accomplish anything. The founder of Tap It Paranormal and our resident paranormal expert, Mr. Randy.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
All right. And to my immediate left here is John. When it comes to John, the demons exorcise him. So there's Johnny, Big Bad John, the kilted one himself. And I am Dave, just plain Dave. So here we go.
You're not the man with the can today.
No, I am the man with the boot today. Das Boot. So today we are doing The Exorcist, the 1973 release of The Exorcist, the original. This was a movie that we picked off the big wheel of movies, and now we're gotta call again. Oh, you gotta love live.
Your mother again?
Yeah, my mother again. She'll keep doing it until I might have to do that again. But The Exorcist is the movie that was picked off the big wheel of movies after our last review, and that was Randy's choice on the wheel. So we watched the movie several times, obviously. Well, Randy, since it was your movie that you picked,
yes.
What is your thoughts on that movie?
I just love the movie. It's a great movie. One of the biggest box office movies of all times.
And a little fact that I found out that when you consider in inflation, The Exorcist was the top grossing movie of all time for Warner Brothers.
And it was how many million?
Like 235 million or something like that it grossed. But when you figure in the inflation from 1973 to now, but it's still the top grossing. It made the most money for Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
ever. Which is amazing.
Right, especially back in those days.
Right. So that's pretty cool. That's a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
What do you think, John? What did you think of the movie? Just a brief little thing.
I think the whole premise of the movie is a great idea. I mean,
Yeah.
especially for like when it came out. I mean, because there was stuff similar, but nothing came close to what that movie pulled off.
Exactly. Because this was based off of an actual true story.
Even still, they've done however many countless movies of that and possessions and whatnot, but none of them come close. I know the effects and stuff are a bit dated for now, but still, as far as the story and stuff goes, nothing really comes close to it.
Right. Dale says hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Dale.
Hey,
Hi, Dale and Richie.
Richie?
So, yeah, we can able to see the comments a little bit better now. So if you guys comment or have something to say, chime in, anything you want to do, just let us know. We'll do our best to include you. For me, I like the movie. It's one of those movies that you can put in on a dark, stormy night and scare the shit out of the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the new generation coming up because they've never seen it. And a lot of them don't know anything about what's going on, with the possession
I think
or anything like that.
A lot of them now have never even heard of it.
Right.
When we picked this 2 weeks ago, my cousins, they're 14 and 13, had never even heard of the movie.
Neither one of my boys have. They heard of it, but they'd never seen it. And that's where I failed as a parent. But yeah, it's definitely a movie that I think everybody needs to see at least once.
Oh, definitely.
I sit there right in front
Yeah.
of your face.
And usually, when a person watches it one time, they end up watching it again.
Oh yeah,
Right.
sure. Yeah. When the movie was released back in 1973, before I was born,
That was a long time ago.
that was definitely before you were born,
Oh, yeah.
but not you.
No.
That's
but
as old as dirt.
When it was released, they actually had to call paramedics into the theater to take care of people that had passed out, that were running around acting crazy because of the movie. So I mean, it's, if you're a producer or whatever that has to do with the movie, that's got to make you feel good,
Right.
We made this scary movie. It's making people pass out. That's sweet, So
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that would be like the biggest compliment I think I could ever get.
According to my mom, one of my cousins that was alive when that movie came out actually did get possessed from watching the movie.
From watching the movie. And the girl that played the actress that played the little girl in the movie, Linda Blair, after the movie was released, I guess she had to have guards guarding her for like 6 months afterwards because she received so many death threats from actually making the movie, that people that were really offended by the movie that was going on were actually sending her death threats. And she was like, what, 11 or 12 at the time? I mean, that's crazy.
If I would have been her, when she made that movie, she lived in an apartment or something in New York City, and she said when I watched part of an interview that she was talking about The Exorcist, she said when she came out of the apartment building, she'd clear the sidewalk, everybody crossed the road to get away from her. That would have just been great.
And it's just a movie. I mean,
Right.
if they did it today, it would be no big deal.
Right.
I
think that's one of the things that makes that movie what it is.
Sure.
For when the time it came out, it was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. But even today, if you look up the most scary movies ever made, the scariest movie in the world, the scariest movie ever made, The Exorcist is in the top 10 on every single list.
It held the number one spot for a long time, too.
It did too. I mean, and that's got to say something for a movie that was filmed, 50 or 46 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. 47.
45, 46 years ago?
Yeah, 47 years ago, yeah. 73
I mean, that's saying something to hold that place, in the top 10 for that amount of time with all the movies that's coming out and everything that's going on, with everything.
Look at it this way. In 3 more years, that movie will be half a century old.
You make me feel old, John.
You are old.
That movie came out 2 years before I was born.
I was 8 when it came out.
Like I said, older than dirt.
Right?
Hey, how was the dinosaurs?
They were pretty good.
Quiet.
Oh, yeah.
What I want to know is how were they when they were barbecued?
Excellent.
A lot of meat. A little chewy.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like on the Flintstones, get that big Rex
Right.
inside the car falls over.
I used to love that cartoon. I ain't gonna lie, I still do.
So, as far as the movie goes, what was your favorite part of the movie? What really stands out for you guys with the movie? Randy,
John?
since it was your movie, we're going to go this way. So
Me, I just love the whole movie. There's not one favorite part I can say.
there's not one scene that stood out more than the others to you, or
I think probably my favorite part was when she was coming down the steps backwards and upside down.
right?
I loved that part, especially for back in that day to accomplish that.
And that part was not actually included in the original
Right.
theatrical release of the movie. When it first came out in theaters, that scene was not in there. It wasn't till later when they released it to DVD that they were actually able to edit that scene enough to get it into the movie. So. And obviously I didn't see it when it was first released. I don't think any of us seen it when it was first released. You were 8 and you seen it in the
Yeah.
theater? Really?
Oh, I loved it. I went with my sister.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
My sister and my brother-in-law took me because right after that we watched Toolbox Murders.
That's a movie I never heard of until you told me about it.
Really?
Yeah, I've never heard of the Toolbox Murders.
I've been a horror fan my whole life. I just
Right.
love horror movies.
So,
What do you think of Hang with John?
right. All right, John, what was your, what scene stood out
Scary
most
Boy.
for you?
I would have to agree with Randy. The coming down the stairs upside down and backwards was pretty impressive.
That
I
was,
liked
yeah?
that.
You like that part?
And probably the funniest scene though. For
Could
me
you do
was-
that?
Oh sure.
You crab walk backwards down the stairs?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, hopefully you're not wearing your kilt when you do it.
Well, where's your sense of adventure, Dave?
Yeah, I ain't doing it with a kilt. I'm telling you, if I could do it, I ain't putting a kilt on. Nobody wants to see that. So, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go
Oh,
ahead.
that's fine. I was just going to say probably the funniest scene though for me would be the vomit scene.
The vomit, where she vomits on the priest?
Yeah, I absolutely found that hysterical.
And a little fact about that, you gotta love IMDb because, you know, when we said we were going to do this, I had been reading up on IMDb about this movie, and the older the movie, the more facts that are there. That scene that John's talking about where she vomits on the priest, and it hits him in the face, that was a malfunction. The originally what was supposed to happen when she vomits is supposed to hit him in the chest, and the way they had the tube angled or something like that was wrong, so it hit him in the face. So when you see the look of disgust and anger on his face,
It's real.
that's genuine because he didn't know that was going to happen. He thought it was going to hit him in the chest. Here he gets blasted in the face with a whole bunch of pea soup, you know. And Linda Blair is the one that played the little girl. She, at that time, she hated vegetables so much. She did not like vegetables at all. So she had to have this pea soup in her mouth, you know, because when she's turning aside and she's spitting out pea soup, she actually vomited a couple times because of that. So, I mean, I don't know. Just thought that was kind of strange.
Here's another, I guess, kind of useless fact.
Huh, I'm full of those,
I've noticed,
right?
but me too. But I guess before she got the script for The Exorcist, she'd been raised as like a Baptist or something, so she had no idea of anything at all to do with that kind of. So it was just what never taught to her.
Right.
So she was completely oblivious to what exactly she was doing, and until after the movie was cut and released, and she's like, "Oh, so."
Yeah. It pretty much screwed her childhood up, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I can
there
imagine.
was a lot of people that got screwed up because of that movie. There was, 9 deaths associated with that movie? At one way or another.
Yes.
Originally, they were supposed to shoot in a certain amount of time, and it took twice as long to actually film the
Yeah,
movie
close to a year.
because of all the stuff that was happening. That movie is considered bad luck. Well, you were telling us some stuff.
Like the
Frank.
fire, like the set catching on fire twice. 2 different buildings, the apartment building and the building that the priest lived in. Then they had the one where Reagan and her mother's at burnt completely down during filming. It took them 4 weeks to rebuild it. Then when they went to start shooting after they rebuilt it, same day they started shooting, they had a sprinkler malfunction, which ruined the whole set, so they had to start all over again. That was just one of the incidences that happened during the movie. Then they had a day on the set where everybody got real sick because the temperature actually hit 130 degrees during filming.
That's hot.
Yeah.
I'm from Florida, and that's still friggin' hot.
And this was when they filmed it in New York.
Right.
And 130 degrees in New York, that's like, what's the odds of it hitting that temperature?
And supposedly this movie was filmed around October, November, December, towards the end of the
Exactly.
year. So, yeah.
And it was just that one day, and then they lost nine of their crew members because they said they weren't going to come back because of all the bad luck going on.
Right. And the the production company wanted to bring in a exorcist to do an exorcism on the set itself because of all the stuff that was going on. But the director decided not to do that because of he didn't want it to get the actors in that frame of mind to where they're be afraid to go to work. So they brought in a priest to actually bless the set, and they actually blessed the set to kind of get people back in the right frame of mind to help them.
The only thing though, it actually made things worse.
Right. Which it often does.
Because it was right after they had him come in and bless the set. I can't remember the actor's name that played Father Marin, but when his plane landed in New York that day to start filming there in New York, his brother died.
No.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, really? So there's one of the deaths that's associated with the movie.
Well, I know you love the movie, but is there any scene that you've seen in there? Any scene that you've seen? Any part in the movie that you did not like?
No, not really. I just love the whole movie. Probably the worst part of it would be one that we discussed earlier. And it's kind of I agree with you on that one. Is with the candle.
Right.
You're going to be up in a dark attic with a candle, and all of a sudden it's going to look like a flamethrower and go out, and you're not going to be like.
Yeah, she was like, ah! And then that guy popped up out of
with a flashlight.
With the flashlight, and she's like, oh, okay, blah blah blah. And then that was
do that to me.
Yeah. And then that was all that was said about it.
Yeah.
If somebody scares me, okay, I'm going to get scared, but I'm holding a candle that just turned into a flamethrower. I'm going to say something to somebody,
It was that part, and the only other part I didn't figure out in the movie, which they never explained it.
And I didn't realize it till you said something.
That talisman that they found when they was in Iraq at the dig was down at the bottom of the steps where the guy was killed.
Yeah.
They never explained how that talisman got down there.
Right.
Of that demon.
Or the pendant that the one priest was wearing that got ripped off at the end and thrown to the side.
Yeah, because that was actually in Father Marin's possession.
Right.
And it went from him
Unless I missed that somewhere in the movie.
I must have too, but unless he gave it to him, I don't know.
Right. But they never showed that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Which that's a St. Joseph's pendant.
St. Joseph? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not too up on that stuff, but
I got to looking it up. It was a St. Joseph's pendant that was used during the movie, and that pendant is actually worn by the Catholic priests that do exorcisms because the pendant is for protection against possession. Because remember in the movie they showed it gets ripped off and then the demon goes into his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, John, is there any scene for you that... I know there wasn't no eyeballs things in there, but...
Thank goodness.
John has a thing with eyeballs.
Yeah, he doesn't like eyeballs.
Horrible.
Anything to do with eyeballs, John don't like.
Hey, John.
Oh, come on, man. Really? But, I don't know. Some of it was a little slow, like the party scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I didn't really have much.
It kind of did. It did take a little bit to get going.
Right.
But once it started going, it's like it escalated really quick.
Right.
She went from decent, okay, to okay, there might be something wrong with her, to full possession within, in the movie, it seemed like a matter of days.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's how that works. You're the expert paranormal guy. How does that work?
With that, I don't know. I did think of a scene that I didn't like in the movie.
All right.
And that's when they put the needle in her neck.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Man. You know
that's
your favorite scene.
No, it was not, because I had that done once.
And I guess that was the one scene where a lot of people in the theaters had a problem with. A lot of people, that's where they would pass out, is where they hit the main artery, the carotid artery in the neck, and that blood was just like on.
That's not what bothered me though. It was just that.
Just the fact
I can remember it when
got
I was
big old needles look like this long.
That.
You know what that kind of kind of makes me think of, since you don't like it so much?
Eyeballs.
Well, no. But the scene in the first Zombieland, where they were stopped on the highway, there was a zombie eating the body out in the road in front of them. And I can't remember his name in the movie, but the one character says to the other character, it just kind of makes you feel, and then the younger character goes, oh, like, whatever. And he goes, no, hungry.
That makes you feel hungry. Yeah, right.
But,
that would be you in the apocalypse,
absolutely.
I think.
I'd be
You
like
can't get
Woody
his petite
Harrelson.
little feminine figure by not eating.
Trust me, I
You know
know.
what, Dave? I'd be like Woody Harrelson in that movie. Where's my
Oh, Lord.
goddamn Twinkies at?
What we got? What do you say, Russell? Just say it.
Say it,
darn it.
Cam boy.
Fuck you.
Well, that's not very nice.
I know, that's why I was silent.
What brought that on?
Twinkies.
Hey, you want a Twinkie?
I'm alright.
We keep trying to bring Russell in.
I've got your Twinkie.
We got to get Russell in on one of these reviews because he knows as much, if not more, than us about movies. Because that's all he does is watch movies. So, I mean, we got to get him in here on this because he's always sitting in the background going like this. Hey. He's looking stuff up on his phone and trying to get our attention and
we start getting the cue
then he
cards.
starts lipping
Yeah,
stuff and we
that's a
can't
good
read his
idea.
lips. So,
A small dry erase board.
Yeah, and he can.
well, there we go. But
Knowing him, he'll be drawing stick figures with bikinis on.
well, yeah, you never know.
Asian stick figures.
Nobody's safe around here. Okay, let's see. Another question. Let's see.
Any other fun facts?
I'm trying to think. And I read a bunch of them on IMDb. The one priest in the movie was an actual priest. What was his name?
Oh crap! Now I forgot it.
Okay. Well, the one priest was an actual priest and was,
It was the
practicing
main-
Yeah.
up
the main
in,
priest.
Jeremy Miller.
and he was an actual priest, and he practiced it all the way up until 2012, which is pretty impressive, I do believe.
I knew I was going to draw a blank as soon as it started.
Well, sure.
Now you know how I feel most of my life.
Well, Randy, you're the residential paranormal expert. How close would you say this movie comes to actual events, to an actual exorcism? Excuse me, John.
Oh, baby.
Well, you know how I am, though. I got a kind of a hard thing with the possession thing. Because in order to be possessed, you have to let that happen. The spirit just can't take you over because you have free will and control over your own soul.
Right.
So,
You don't think her playing with a Ouija board by herself, which
that could
That's a big
happen, and it
no-no
could wear
anyway.
a person down where they give in, and when a person works with a Ouija board by themselves, which they shouldn't do, shouldn't mess with them at all anyways, it's called progressive entrapment.
okay.
And that's when you're just working by yourself and not, you don't have anybody else helping you.
So if somebody is actually got a Ouija board and they're playing by themselves, they definitely open up themselves to that potential of being possessed.
Right.
That is an actual thing.
Right.
That could actually happen.
Yeah, that could actually happen.
Okay. So that's pretty damn scary to me. I don't know.
And
I mean, I would never play with a Ouija board, but
and number one, nobody should be messing with them anyways, because if they don't close them,
right.
you leave that
If you
portal
don't know how to do it, if you don't know how to use them, it could just
Right.
like a gun. If you don't know how to use a gun, it could be potentially dangerous for the
yeah, you're
person
shooting yourself.
using it.
You're shooting yourself in your own foot.
Like Tucker and Dale, the guy says, "Hey, the safety's on the side." He blows his head off. So okay.
Now, did I mention
This
that
vacation
this movie was
sucks.
actually based on a true story?
No, you have not yet.
And actually, the writer of the book got permission from a priest who did an actual exorcism and it took place in 1949 in St. Louis, Missouri, and it was not a little girl, it was a little boy, and he asked the guy when he wrote the book to change the characters around so that they didn't know where it actually happened.
Right.
But it ended up coming out anyways years later.
So,
This was based on a true story, but just in a different town and year.
so how prevalent is the whole exorcism thing? And you gotta love the driving noise. Sorry. But how prevalent is the exorcism thing? How often does that happen?
I wouldn't say it happens very often. Maybe once every 20 years.
Okay. I know every religion has their
Their own-
beliefs in
right.
that and everything, but okay, you guys are gonna have to excuse me again.
Before you go, have either of you ever actually listened to an exorcism or saw
No,
an
I
actual
have not.
exorcism? Have you?
I've watched basically an exorcism of a house, not a person.
My dad used to listen to this one radio program all the time, and the guy that he was listening to, it was like a talk radio kind of thing.
Okay.
And the guy was really interesting. I liked listening to him too. A lot of times he had like stories and stuff he'd tell, but this one particular time, the whole week leading up to it, he was talking about exorcisms and stuff. And that Friday, he was going to be playing an exorcism that he was able to set in on. And I was like 7 or 8, something like that. I was pretty young, but it was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night when he came on. It scared me pretty bad. I was like, oh man, I don't want to get out of the car, because we went somewhere, and it was pretty. And you've been to my place, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to get out and go in the house. But anyways, it was
Kind of like the night we wanted to get out of the woods.
yeah, definitely. But it was interesting, but
Right.
I don't know if I'd actually want to sit and listen to one ever again. But
I've always wanted to sit in on an actual one, but I don't know.
during exorcism, you gotta be really careful for whoever's in on it doesn't get possessed themselves from what they're trying to exorcise out of the person.
You got a comment on there, Randy? Can you see it?
Oh, yuck, I can't stay. No, I can't hardly read it.
Says,
Oh yuck! I can't stay.
Or Randy will have to.
walk me to the outhouse.
Huh? Okay.
Somebody gonna pee or Shelly's gonna pee their pants.
I'll have Craig do that.
It's a good movie to watch for a good scare. I mean, it's not really gory. I mean, there's a little bit of gore with it, like when she's masturbating with a crucifix, which is just disturbing in itself.
Right.
And that's a lot of reason people hated that movie.
Right. And in the book, I guess there's a book that's associated with it. In the book, it was supposed to be a lot more graphic. So thank God they didn't do that.
Right.
But it's not a really gory movie, but it's enough psychological, I guess you would say, to make you think twice about turning the light off at night when you get done with it. What would you guys rate the movie as? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best and 1 being the worst.
It's a 10.
Oh, yeah.
You'd say 10?
I'd say a 7 at least. I think Randy's is a 10.
Oh, yeah, I'm a 10.
I would go with at least an 8, I think.
Probably allows because I like Linda Blair, too.
Is that one? Well, yeah.
Sorry, I got a thing for her.
Now, would you recommend this movie for somebody else to watch? Somebody that's never seen it? And if you would, what would you tell them? What would you tell somebody that has never seen, never even heard of it?
That's the funniest movie ever made.
You would.
So if somebody comes up to you and says, hey, somebody told me to watch The Exorcist. and you say, "Well, that's a funny movie. That's hilarious." That's what you would tell them to watch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just to get them to watch it. Then they'd be like, oh.
It'd probably cuss me up one side and down the other afterwards, but that would be the funny part about it.
Okay.
What?
Now I remember when I first met you, and we were talking about movies because we've always talked about movies, you and I.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about the first time you watched The Exorcist. I think it was The Exorcist. You're watching it at your house. You know what story I'm talking about?
You got the wrong movie.
Oh, is it? Okay, never mind then.
That was the Poltergeist.
Oh, the Poltergeist? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Funny
never mind.
story though. Which we ought to do that movie.
The Poltergeist,
so I can
yeah.
tell that story.
I would tell somebody, I said, this is a really good movie. I said, you have to watch it at night, in the dark, by yourself.
Yeah.
Now,
I'd
if
pretty
you
much
get-
tell them the same thing,
if-
except pay real close attention.
Right. If you can get through the whole movie, you're doing good. I said, it's a real good movie, but you have to do it like this. This would be a good one to watch
That's
back
how
in the
I did
woods.
it. First
Yeah.
time I watched it was, well, I seen it in the theater, but when it came out and was released
Yeah.
to go on TV, I sat in the dark by myself. Loved it.
A friend of mine that I've known since like the 4th grade, and I rag on him about some of the stuff that we watched and he's watched and stuff because he likes horror movies, but he's not like, oh yeah, man, that's like the best movie ever. Kind of like horror movies,
Right.
but he just like randomly watches them. The first time he watched that, or I think it was the only time he watched The Exorcist. But he said he would watch it at another friend of his house. And when he was driving home, all he could see in the rearview mirror was that little girl behind her, Reagan's character behind him. And it said,
In full possession,
Right.
makeup. Yeah, I love that.
He said it scared him really bad.
Scared him half to death, huh?
Which, I ragged on him so bad about that.
Now, we've all seen hundreds of scary movies.
No,
Yeah.
putting it lightly.
Right, yeah. That's our go-to genre,
Right.
is horror movies.
In case any of you guys haven't, noticed that yet.
Right. So, where would you rank this movie in your vast catalog of movies? Where would you rank this movie?
As far as horror movies
As
go?
far as as far as horror movies go, where would you rank this movie?
Are you talking as far as like
A 1
scary or
1 to 10 scale.
Yeah, would it be in your top 10?
Oh yeah,
Top 10 scariest movies that you've
it'd be in
seen?
my top 3.
Yeah, I'd say top 10. Maybe just past 5.
Just past 5?
It's about in the middle range.
Yeah. I'd say it'd be like at least 1 or 2 with me, as far as scary movie. I gotta ask you, John.
Oh, we're in trouble.
Being scare boy that you are, and the vast knowledge of movies that you have, and as many movies as that you have seen, is there any movie out there that really bugged you or messed with you at all? What movie kind of got to you and just scared you? Is there any movie that does scare you?
Not so much the movie, but there's been like
Other-
single scenes in movies.
Right.
Like, kind of, they're mostly like jump scares, I guess, but if you actually stop and looked at them as far as like a little bit more in depth of that scene, they were
Trying to read.
like the one that comes to mind
Doesn't help
right
I'm half
off.
illiterate.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you do have a hard time spelling.
and I can't see because even I got glasses.
Well, that goes back to you
I
being
still
old.
can't see. I'm old.
But the one that comes to mind right off the bat, and I used to have like a list of them that I kept in mind for that particular question because I used to get asked that all the time.
I'm
But,
sure you did. I mean, you're a pretty big, scary dude,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
you're a
just
big teddy bear, but
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm just a lovable little
you're just
teddy bear.
intimidating.
I don't see it.
I don't
I don't
either,
either.
but
Uh,
you know,
But Anyways, like,
I know people have walked away from you in aisles of Walmart.
yes, they have. I actually remember one woman I was walking through Walmart. I was kind of in a hurry. I must have looked like I was pissed off or something. But she actually grabbed her kid and poured it back out of the aisle. It was all I could do to keep from laughing.
Because you look like a Viking. You look like you're going to go plunder something.
That would be kind of fun.
All right?
Yeah. But
Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to the
that's
question.
fine.
I get sidetracked easy.
So do I.
Can't help it.
I sit here and observe. I'm the resident shrink, by the way.
You got your
And
hands.
he gets a lot of.
Got your work cut out for
Yeah. We actually need a couch because between me and him, it'd get a lot of use. Yeah.
That'd be a pretty big couch. We couldn't all lay down on it at one time.
Yeah, that kind of came out all wrong, didn't it? But anyways, the only movie that really comes to mind for one scene and then right off is Stir of Echoes, and where Kevin Bacon's character can't sleep or whatever, and he goes down and watches TV, and he leans up to get the TV remote off the coffee table, and leans back, and there's the ghost character person sitting beside him, and she's like reaches out for him, like jumps and runs away. That scene got me for the first time that I watched it, you know. But then again, I was like 10
Right.
or something.
Well, yeah.
you know,
I mean,
so,
that's the start of it all. So,
right.
what about you, Randy?
What?
What was
What
the question
movie-
again?
It's been a while. What movie? What type of horror movie, or what horror movie that you've seen had got to you? It is the one that sticks out in your head every time you see it. It's just kind of like it fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yes, I do have one.
okay.
The Wizard of Oz.
Why? Why the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I'm afraid of short people. No, I'm kidding.
That's biased. I take offense to that. I'm short. Ish.
We don't care if you take offense to it.
Oh, I know. I didn't figure you would.
No,
But-
actually, I haven't had any. I've had some
In
of-
your whole life, you've never
No.
had one movie that screwed with you?
No, none of them. I mean, I told you what happened when I watched Phantasm the first time.
No.
I
I loved that movie. Then I had my sister-in-law watch it with me because I thought it'd be funny. Then she had nightmares for 6 months of the tall man coming out of her closet and taking her.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, she was mad. Oh, she wanted to kill me. So was my brother.
I guess for me, going back to my childhood, before I was into the whole horror movie genre, was what was it? It was Friday the 13th. I think it was part 2, where the kid goes to like the halfway house. Okay, I remember sitting on the couch, and my cousin, he was real big into movies. He still is. But he got it from the local movie rental place. And,
Then Bugs Bunny appears.
Rabbit season.
damn it!
Duck season.
Rascal
Duck
Rabbit.
season.
But
Duck season.
he brought that movie home,
Rabbit season.
and I was probably only, I couldn't have been that old. I mean, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure when that movie come out. But, I was, I remember sitting in my grandparents' house, in their living room, middle of the day, watching the movie like this. I had a blanket over my head, and I'd peek up, and that movie messed with me so much that I just couldn't. I mean, it messed with me. Later on, when I grew up and got into horror movies, I watched the movie later on, and it was funny. I laughed my ass off at that movie. And after that, when Blair Witch first come out,
I like that movie.
the original Blair Witch, when it first come out,
In my opinion, that's the only movie that got found footage right.
right? And when I went to see it in the theaters when it first come out. It was me and my cousin.
I think I read about the time I first met you.
Right. And at that point, they were doing it. They were perceiving it as this is actual footage. This is what it was. And my cousin and I, we went to the movies. We seen it. The movie ended. The lights come on. I looked at my cousin. My cousin looked at me, and both of us at the same time went, "I need a beer." And we drove to the local bar in Worcester at that time, and we had about 3 or 4 beers. And then we had to drive home. And if anybody familiar with the area that we're from, I had to drive through from Worcester to Pleasant Home to where I was living at the time. Several patches, long patches of woods. And that movie really messed with me for some reason. And then later on we found out that it was, all
put on.
BS and put off. But that's another movie that we would have to do a review of later. I think
hated
it'd
that
be
movie.
good. Really? It's one of them movies. It's just,
I could tell it was all fake.
yeah. But I mean, that's what it was. So, but the Exorcist.
Ooh.
So what is your guys' takeaway from The Exorcist? I mean, we can sit here and ramble on forever, but
I think it's just a flat out great movie.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think everybody should at least watch it one time.
yeah, I agree with
What
you.
I like about The Exorcist is everybody's
Blair?
reactions. Oh, that's besides the point. I like that everybody is like scared to death of the movie, and
It deals
I'm
with
like-
a very scary subject.
yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still just a movie,
True,
which is
but it's a movie that is based in reality
right,
because it could actually something like that could actually happen
which makes it that much more comical.
for you.
Well, I didn't say it wasn't like a little twisted, but still.
Yeah, I mean it's got the whole religious aspect to it. It's got the demonic aspect to it. It's got the paranormal aspect. It's got it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a great movie.
It is, and it stands the test of time.
Right.
It does.
Oh yeah, like I said, that's in my top 3. It's at number 3 on my list of my top 3.
Right.
What's 2 and 1?
What's 2 and 1? Well, I'll give you number 1, which is Halloween,
Nice.
Which one?
the very first one. I mean, when people come up to me and ask me, "Who's your hero?" and I say Michael Myers, and they look at me and they go, "Oh, Mike Myers, yeah, he's a funny guy." I'm like, "No, from Halloween."
It's coming from a guy that put a Michael Myers mask on and drove around Ashland and got pulled over by the cops and told him he had to go home. So,
because I was scaring everybody at Ashland University.
That's funny.
And it
yeah.
wasn't only one time they pulled me over. I got warned 6 times that night.
Nice.
It was fun. I wasn't hurting nobody. There was another guy driving around with a hearse and wearing a Michael Myers hat mask. They didn't say nothing to him.
So what is your top number 1 scariest movie?
Top number 1 scariest? I don't really find them all that scary. So
Yeah, like I said, Halloween's mine. Exorcist is 3. Number 2 is Ghost Ship.
I like that movie.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Because I like the character of the ghost of the little girl in there. How she tries to help warn.
She's a good actress.
Yes. And she was the only good ghost on the ship.
Right.
Right. Well, let's see.
Actually,
For me, my most scariest movie, just because it screwed me up so much when I was younger, and it led to all this, would be Friday the 13th part 2.
Would you say that's what got you into horror movies?
Definitely. Definitely.
How about you? What got you into horror movies?
Thank you, Bubba.
Watching
I
you.
appreciate that. You got me into all this stuff.
I go watching you.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. I just turned one on one time when I was a kid. Actually, it was clear back in the Houlihan and Big Chuck days before Big
Nice.
Chuck and Little John.
Yeah.
And that's where I watched my first horror movie at, was on their show. It was like, oh, cool.
All right. So, is there anything else you all want to say about the movie?
What was the first horror movie you ever watched?
Frankenstein. The Universal Monsters one from, what was it, like
When was that?
something? Oh, like 42 or 43 or something like that. It came out, wasn't it?
40? No, when did you watch it? Not when the movie come out.
The year, well, it came out in 1939, I think.
Was it 39?
Yeah,
How old were you when you watched your first horror movie?
7 or 8.
that's the way I was too.
So, all right, kids, don't watch horror movies until you
Or
get
you turn
later
out
in
like
life.
us.
Otherwise, you turn out like these guys.
No, no. Watch them younger.
Yeah,
It's the best advice you're ever going to get.
So, yeah.
The soundtrack,
Two.
The Exorcist,
Okay.
is the theme song is like one of my favorites of like all movies combined.
Oh yeah. You hear that music and you
And
know
absolutely know what
you
it
know
is.
which one it is.
Yeah.
It's like Halloween.
Yeah,
You know the
which
Halloween
is
ones. Yeah.
Probably my second to that.
Yep.
But
Sorry. Yeah, we're doing this in my
Oh.
garage, so we got cars going all over the
Richie
place.
said something. What did he say up there?
Who? What?
is there any checking Houlihan was the bomb?
Ah,
Yeah, Houlihan. Yeah. What happened to Houlihan? He passed away.
no, he lives in Florida.
Oh,
Was he?
okay.
I thought he died.
No, he's down in Florida. He's actually not too far away from your mom and dad in Fort Myers.
Oh, right on.
How come he's not on with Big Chuck anymore?
He retired.
Oh, well, he must be really old then, because
Oh, yeah. Well, his real name's Bob Wells,
Yeah.
and he's actually still doing news anchor down in Florida.
Nice.
Hey, Craig. Craig's signed on. Hey there, Bruno.
What's going on, man? Enjoying your night off? Hopefully. But
All right. Well,
so how about you guys? What about you guys' favorite like theme songs?
theme songs.
You know what mine is? The one from Halloween.
Yeah, you did mention that earlier.
I don't know. I don't have a favorite theme song. I don't.
Actually, I like the one from Jaws too, the first one.
Yeah.
No.
You want to hear a useless fact about that theme song? Somewhere in it, there was like a dinosaur roar. Because Steven Spielberg's first movie had a dinosaur in it, and it roared, and that roars in every one of his movies somewhere.
Yeah.
The Exorcist. There was a guy that sued the movie studio for putting subliminal messages in the movie that caused him to pass out, and the studio settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money. I remember reading that. Sorry, I just
I
popped
would
up
have told
there.
him if he passed out, that was his own fault.
Right. So,
Exactly.
But that's just me. But anyways, so I think that probably pretty much wraps it up.
Pretty much
huh?
wraps up.
Yeah.
We need. Are we gonna spin
Do
the
the big
wheel for
wheel.
the next one?
Sounds good.
All right, we are going to spin the big wheel of movies. That concludes our review of The Exorcist, 1973.
Who's still in the dark?
Who is it? Oh, Mr. Wayne.
Come on down. Price is right.
This is our resident Batman, Mr. Bruce
What if it
Wayne.
doesn't stick?
You got to throw it hard.
Pretend it's Russell's butt.
The next movie that we do a review on.
Young Frankenstein. No, Jennifer's Body.
Throw it hard. Okay, throw it again.
Hold on.
Throw it hard. There we go.
Jennifer's
All right. Predator.
And I picked that one.
Again? All right, the next movie we are going to do is The Predator, which is the original one, right?
Yep.
Well,
Let me guess that. That's forward too.
all right. So we are going to do Predator is going to be the next movie that we do. So Randy, you get to pick once again what is going to go up in that spot. You take some time to think about it if you want.
I've already got it in my head.
Okay, what is
I
it?
mentioned it to you guys earlier, and you guys, neither one of you have seen it. We're gonna try the movie Ghost Town.
Ghost Town. Okay, if
So-
anybody out there in
1988
internet land
release.
has heard of-
Mars Attacks.
What?
Mars Attacks.
I don't want Mars Attacks.
Come on, Jack Nicholson ain't been in any of these movies yet.
So we are gonna do
My next one's One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest.
Ghost Town.
All right, I'm good with
Nice.
that.
If we can find it.
What, One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest?
No.
No, Ghost Town.
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town? Yeah, we can find it.
All right. So we are going to try to do Ghost Town. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate.
Well, we're doing Predator. Ghost Town if it comes up on the
Oh,
dart
yeah.
again.
We're doing Predator next. I'm sorry, not Ghost Town. Forgive me. I've been drinking. I got about 5 boots in.
5 Pittsburgh.
That too. We will be doing Predator. So thank you all for watching. And do you all have any closing? Don't stab me with your damn dart! Damn it! I need to pierce my nipple. Just don't give me a Jacob slider. We'll be okay.
Where's the picture, man? Come on.
You guys have anything to say in closing?
Stay scary.
Stay scary.
Stay scary.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. And
Stay scary. I like that. What about you? You got anything to say?
Yeah.
Put you on the spot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Randy says.
Now, thanks
"Eh."
for everybody for watching us and putting up with us and all of our shenanigans, which we're going to try and add more shenanigans to make this more funny.
absolutely.
We're gonna try. All right. Well, hey, thank you all for watching, and we are gonna go and just have fun and just keep drinking, and hey, it's all good.
I'm gonna probably eat that, but still.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, dog.